What's up, guys? And welcome back to another episode of The Evolve. You know, today I want to talk about something. I want to go a little bit more in depth, in which I haven't really on this subject before, regarding Eminem and his race and being white, and how his race may have played a central role, as many would say, in his stardom. Because recently, the Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club, they had, I guess you can say, reviewed or responded to Mike Tyson calling Eminem and saying, well, not calling him, but saying that Eminem was the first white person and is like the only white person in hip hop to know and be treated like the N-word. But before I get into Charlamagne's response and what he had to say regarding Eminem, because he said quite a bit, and he came to the conclusion as to why Eminem is actually successful, and even saying that he would just be another red man. But before I get into that and play what he said, there's something I want to put in perspective. You see, because in 91, there was this group that put out a song, Pop Goes the Weasel. Their name was Third Base. And this group was made up of a black DJ Richie Rich, and also two other white rappers, which was MC Search and also Pete Nice. You all probably heard of them, being Eminem fans, as Eminem once put all of them in one line in a diss track before. But anyway, that was Third Base, made up of these three members. Now, what they had did in this song, Pop Goes the Weasel, in this music video, it starts off with them in a classroom, and then in this classroom, there is black and white students, all these type of students, and then the teachers say, okay, class, before we get started, we are all gonna sing Pop Goes the Weasel. So then this figure comes out in front of the class and starts singing Pop Goes the Weasel. Who is this figure? It is Vanilla Ice. They portrayed, and it's not the Vanilla Ice, but it's Vanilla Ice, and he starts singing Pop Goes the Weasel and doing his dancing, and it was very cheesy and cringy. So all the black kids immediately leave the classroom in this music video, and most of the white kids. There was only like 3 or 4 white kids that stayed in the classroom. And then at the end of this music video, MC Search and Pete Nice, they take a bat and they begin to beat Vanilla Ice down. This was one of the first white-on-white beefs, and this started a whole diss track. Vanilla Ice, he responded back, and then the Beastie Boys, they got into it, and the Beastie Boys, they hit their Third Base with a diss track also. But why do I bring that particular video up? Why do I bring that up? You see, because MC Search and Pete Nice, they actually came from some black neighborhoods, some of the blacker neighborhoods. And Vanilla Ice, they kind of not just felt, but it was true. See, people like Vanilla Ice and even MC Hammer, see, they did a form of rap that the mainstream could swallow. Both whites and blacks and those that were up in positions, that part, they watered down, so to speak, rap, and they created some false images of themselves, especially Vanilla Ice, and they didn't really bring hip hop, and they were doing hip hop and they were selling, and they did reach stardom. Vanilla Ice did reach stardom, but it wasn't authentic to what hip hop was about. It was a watered down, mainstream, fun version. And that's what they were trying to depict in this diss track, in this video called Pop Goes the Weasel. That's why all the kids left out once he starts singing in the classroom, all the blacks and whites, and that's why they beat him up. It was their way of distancing themselves. It was one of the first white-on-white crime in rap. It was their way of distancing themselves from someone of their peers, another white rapper. You see, the black community didn't like Vanilla Ice because it seemed as if, he had made they felt as if he was making a mockery and just corny to hip hop. That's not hip hop. And then you have whites like Third Base who didn't like him because it gave them a bad reputation. Because you listen to Pop Goes the Weasel, it's actually a good diss. It's actually a good song. And these guys and these boys, they actually had skills. And they didn't really like Vanilla Ice inside of hip hop, not because of jealousy, but because, like I said, they felt like it was a watered down version. And in Pop Goes the Weasel, they talk about this. They talk about, hey, but now it leads me back to Eminem. But this leads me back to Eminem and the real concrete reason why Eminem was accepted in hip hop, because he was accepted by whites and blacks and hip hop OGs, and he was accepted by all. And there's a difference. There's a difference, and there was a difference in why Eminem has lasted so long. And there's a difference in how Eminem and why he was accepted than any other white rapper. Because there was many white rappers before him. Even this group, Third Base and MC Search and Pete Nice and Vanilla Ice. There's a reason why blacks and whites and mainstream and hip-hop OGs accepted Eminem like he did. And it wasn't just because of his color, is where I'm trying to get. Let me play what Charlamagne said.
And in addition to that, Mike Tyson had this to say about Eminem being treated like an N-word, and Eminem had no idea how to respond.
And you're not no guy somebody gave anything. Everything you got was not even given to you, slaved for it. You're the only white guy that knows what it's like to be a Not
sure how to answer that.
See, I want to know what that means too. I need more on that. Like, how has Eminem been treated like an N-word? Because you're saying N-word, in this case, you're saying N-word is a black person. So how has Eminem ever been treated like a black person? Eminem became Eminem because of the privilege of his white skin. We all know that.
You don't think it's because he was a good rapper, though?
Man, we're not about to have this conversation. Everybody and their mother knows he was a good rapper, but he became a superstar because he's white. He said that himself. Those words have come out of his mouth.
All right, but let's just be clear. It's not just because, not only because he's white, right? It had to start somewhere.
Being white helps a lot. A lot. Because Eminem would be Redman if he wasn't white. And Redman is great, but he's no superstar like Eminem.
So as you see, Charlamagne, he really pushes to match up Eminem's fandom, Eminem's fame to his race and color. Even when his co-hosts say, hey, wait, well, you will at least admit that it wasn't just because he was white. And Charlamagne, he still even didn't answer that. What was his response? His response was, well, it played a role. Well, are you going to admit it that it wasn't? No, his answer was, well, it played a role. And I myself, I'm going to say, just judging by evidence, yes, it did play a role. But why did it play a role? That's the question that no one ever asks, is why did Eminem's white color play a role in his fame? And it wasn't just because of his race for the sake of race, but it was because of what had happened and what the mainstream and what hip hoppers and what the black community and what the white community was served before him. It was because of a big part of it was because of what they were given and what we were fed from the Vanilla Ice, from some of the other watered down, versions of white mainstream into hip hop. And that's why he had came at a perfect time with the skills. But before I get into more of that, something just came to me. And Charlamagne, this is kind of a new stance that he take, because I mean, he tends to flip-flop according to the situation, or he's a very emotional character, and he tends to flip-flop according to how he feel on that day. Because I know about 6 years ago, he felt different. This was a little bit before Eminem had put out a diss on him, but actually he stated that, why can't Eminem be the king of, rap? And why can't Obama just be the president? Why does he have to be a black president? Why can't Eminem be the king of rap? Because it's a black. I'll let Charlamagne the God say what he said in the past.
I don't believe that, man. I don't believe that, especially not nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I believe that hip hop is not just a musical genre anymore. Hip hop is a culture. Hip hop is a culture that people live. Hip hop is a culture that people breathe. It's the way you talk, it's the way you walk, it's the way you dress. And I'm sorry, black people, hip hop is just not a black thing anymore. And the truth of the matter is, music should never be put in a box of race. Like, it shouldn't be, all right, country music is just for white people. Pop music is just for white people. If that was the case, Hootie and the Blowfish wouldn't exist. You know, if that was the case, Michael Jackson wouldn't be considered the king of pop. And contrary to popular belief, he's a black man. I don't care how white his kids are. I don't care how he made himself look. Like, we pick and choose when we want to put walls up. When Michael Jackson is the king of pop and he's a black man, it's cool. But when Eminem is the king of hip hop and he's white, then it's a problem. That don't make any sense. Michael Jordan can be at the top of basketball, but it's a lot of white people that don't like to see Tiger Woods at the top of golf. So it's kind of like reverse racism. Like, we pump our fist for Tiger Woods, but Tiger Woods is dominating what people consider a white sport. Why can't he just be the best in that field? Why it gotta be a black or white thing? I think that is so whack, man. Same thing with Barack Obama as the president. Like, why Barack Obama gotta be a black president? Why he just can't be the 44th president of the United States of America? Like, I just really think that whole race thing is so whack, man.
So I just bring that up because it tends to flip-flop and it tends to be changeable, with Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club. And that's going to be my only response to what he said, because it's so changeable that it's not really worth even talking about anymore. But the actual core of what he was saying, yes, in the past, like I said, MC Hammer and even Vanilla Ice, they created a genre of hip hop that was watered down, and it was something that the mainstream and I guess the white parents could allow their kids to listen to. It was easy to swallow. But even whites, and even certainly the blacks, knew that this ain't hip hop. And that's why when Eminem came around, the reason why whites connected to him was not just because when people say it's just because of its race, it's just because of whites accept him because of his race, and because he was white just like them. You're basically saying that, white people are kind of like robots. Oh, he's white, so I must follow him. No, there was a certain amount of skill, and there was a reason behind why whites and even blacks accepted him. Whites accepted him. Yes, a part of it was it was finally someone inside of hip hop that kind of looked like them. Back in those times, yes, you did have the Source magazine and you had the Source Awards, and black was not black, but rap and hip hop, it was a black art. So yes, he checked one box. Hey, okay, he was white, and okay, so that gatherized people to listen. That gatherized a different audience that hip hop never had before. and a bigger and a wider audience. He brung forth millions, he helped push and propel hip hop because he was brung in. So they start looking. And then the more, the white America start looking, the reason why they stayed, with him, and even still today, is because, and this goes for blacks and whites, but the blacks in hip hop, they had this white boy where a lot of people say they couldn't relate today, but that's the main reason why blacks and the OGs and people play this music, and it was because they could relate. Because the blacks, they understood the struggle he was talking about. They understood, in a way, the anger and the obnoxiousness, the hate, and the stumbling blocks all along his way, from the trailer to not having anything. Maybe it wasn't the direct situation, but the emotions inside of his songs, inside of his raps. I mean, the blacks understood the struggle. They understood what it was like to not have money. They understood what it was like to have a hate and to have a fear. Maybe not his fears, but they understood their fears. And the parallels were quite vivid in a way. And that's what made Eminem different from any other white rapper before. Not just because he was white, but because of his content and because it was real. It was his life. He was there in Detroit and they understood it. I mean, his race brought forth the audience, but his content, his skill, his character, his realness, his lifestyle, his passion, his love for hip hop is what kept them relevant and kept them on top and kept him seen as one of the greatest inside of hip hop's and the very foundation, one of the very pieces of the foundation of hip hop. All these things, not just one thing, correlate. And that goes for black rappers too. We don't just like Nas or Jay-Z just because they're black. Nah, there's a lot of different things. I like Jay-Z. I like him more because of some of the business moves and some of the things that he do outside of rap. I like his coolness and his chillness. Nas, there's certain aspects that I think and I like what Charlamagne had originally said a few years ago in that clip I played. It's never really been about race. It's not supposed to be about race. Rap and hip hop is for all of us and everyone to play a essential role. I mean, if you decide to go down this road and if you decide to go down this path of race and hip hop and who should be here and where does it end? I mean, where does it stop? Does it stop when we say humans is a guest in the world? I mean, where does it stop? That is. Whew. I like to know what you all think. And I like to hear, I'll read your comments. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe. And for the haters, that's all right. Make sure you read a comment too. Not read a comment, but make sure you leave a comment too. Because honestly, I can use some new haters because my old haters, they're literally starting to like me. My haters are literally starting to like me. So I could use some new ones. As always, KIP, keep it positive. I'll see y'all next video.